Alright, hear me out, bro. The practice of celibacy is a catalyst for higher states of consciousness. Sister, let me say that again. The practice of celibacy or semen retention is a catalyst for higher states of consciousness. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what's the correlation between the two? How does semen retention and celibacy allow me to access higher states of consciousness? How does this all happen? How does this all go about? Well, relax. Because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Now, the first thing you gotta understand is that the world, the Maya, the Matrix, the illusion, whatever you want to call it, this material world is operating at a low vibration, at a low scale and degree of consciousness. And what do I mean by that? The whole world is focused on these three planes of reality, being survival, sex, and status. The human mind is capable of transcending that to higher states. This is an animalistic state of mind. You just saw my dog walk past. That is what an animal can only tap into. That's their only goals in life. Surviving, mating, to reproduce, and going up in status within the hierarchy of their animal kingdom. The human has the animalistic beast part still to them. It has its carnal nature still to them. But it also has access to the spiritual nature, the spiritual realms of reality. But if you are not able to transcend beyond that barrier, you're always going to be stuck within that lower frequency, that lower state of consciousness. If all you're thinking about is just surviving, aka just getting some money, what food you're gonna eat, and you go past that, you unlock that level because you got that situated, you move on to sex. Well, in the modern world we live in today, even if you're not clapping cheeks, even if you're not getting in with women, they give you a false version of that, which is pornography. So that is situated. No matter who you are, your brain thinks that you are mating and reproducing. And status. That's what people are stuck in now. They're fulfilling those two lower levels, and now they're just focused on fulfilling that other higher level, which is just attaining status within the world. Money, cars, clothes, being the top GP, being the alpha. That is what people are focused on. That's where their consciousness is directed towards. But when you actually go beyond that through the practice of semen retention, through the practice of celibacy, you unlock the next planes, the next levels, the next overall stages of consciousness. This is due to the fact that you are skipping and actually going beyond that barrier. You're breaking through it. You're not being a slave to the senses. You're not being a slave to your carnal nature anymore. You're actually looking beyond that. You're piercing through the veil of the matrix. You're piercing through the veil of the Maya, because now you are controlling the most powerful emotion that man has access to, and that is your libido. That is your life force energy, your sexual energy. When that is harnessed and actually directed towards higher pursuits, guess what? You get higher thoughts. I'm not saying higher thoughts that, like, when you smoke weed or you're on psychedelics, you get those high thoughts. But what I'm saying is you get more divine desires, more divine guidance. You get your sixth sense of intuition clicking, which allows you to operate and maneuver this material world with clarity, with understanding of who and what you truly are and what it is that's going to bring you true fulfillment in life. Not just chasing pleasure after pleasure after pleasure, but actually tapping into that level of consciousness that understands, that already has all the answers within itself to help guide you to glory. Because you are no longer subjecting yourself to these lower level states of existence. You're not just chasing after survival. You're not just chasing after sex. You're not just chasing after status. You are not even rejecting them, but you are actually going beyond them. You're transcending past them. You're not sacrificing them, but you're realizing that that's just a part of the game, yet you make your aim, your focus bigger and better. A lot of people, when it comes to this spiritual path, they think that renunciation is the only way to go about it. You have to renounce sex, you have to renounce desire, you have to renounce pleasure. It's not about that. Spiritual knowledge, true spiritual knowledge, gives you knowledge of the self. Knowledge of self is the most ultimate form of bliss, of true fulfillment in life. No amount of physical pleasure, no amount of mental emotions can even comprehend or correlate to that. This is something I talked about with one of my previous videos here on this channel, talking about the differences between sensual pleasures and spiritual ecstasy. True spiritual knowledge directs and guides man's consciousness towards the supreme goal, towards true gold in life. So you're not worried about these lower level desires that give you little spikes of dopamine. You are focused on living in a state of existence of true bliss and joy because you are walking on your righteous path. You are fulfilling your dharma, your spiritual duty, the mission you were brought here to accomplish, why you were incarnated here in this very body at this very time for this very reason. God damn, you spend bars out here in the morning. That's what happens through this practice of celibacy and semen retention. And you might be wondering, okay, is it really that powerful? Is it really that influencing in my life to actually tap me into those higher states of consciousness? Yes, because guess what? The whole world, like we just said before, operates on that state of consciousness due to the fact that they are focused on robbing your attention, robbing your energy, and robbing your focus and funneling it towards their agenda. Every time you subjugate yourself to just being a slave to the senses and only think about survival, sex, and status, you pump up the economy, you pump up the agenda of the matrix, you pump up the overall lane that they want you to follow. You give up the sovereignty of your own spirit and soul. When you detach from that and you reclaim your power through these practices of semen retention and celibacy, you might think that you're sacrificing something at the given moment, but in reality, you're getting everything back that you've been missing out on this entire time. You cannot even comprehend or realize it. That's why some people, when they watch these videos on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, man, if you are enjoying content, topics, and subjects like this, man, you are doing yourself a disfavor. Yes, sir, let me say that again. You are doing yourself a disfavor, motherfucker, by not joining up into the private Patreon community, because within there, you'll get access to exclusive content, full guides, in-depth occult lectures, and most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier within the private Patreon community, you'll get invitations to our private group chat, as well as our monthly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, where we're doing 2 live calls each and every single month. Hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on this path of self-mastery, who are also focused on opening up the gates to higher states of consciousness in order to embody their highest self on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes of reality. So if you're interested in stuff like that, man, and you think that you are really part of this whole journey towards self-mastery, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video, because within there, you'll also be able to find other links to our other services, whether that be personalized coaching with me one-on-one, consultation calls, weekly newsletters, free community Discord server, all that good stuff posted in the pinned comment of this video. But like I was saying, the people that are just initially maybe getting into this content on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, maybe that they're working with me one-on-one, hopping on consultation calls, they can't fathom that if I give up these sensual pleasures, I'll get something bigger and better in return. It's so hard for them to realize that, and I've been in that position before, I've been in that situation before, because you have been programmed to believe that this is the peak pinnacle of life, because your consciousness has been put a lid on top of it and has a barrier on top of it that you can't look beyond it and you can't transcend past that, because your attention, energy, focus is being robbed from you in broad daylight without you even knowing. You're getting pickpocketed without even knowing. And that's making you more of a slave to your senses. So you remain stuck in that state of consciousness. Celibacy and semen retention is like the battering ram that just overall knocks the door down, allows you to see beyond the material, the mundane, and realize that there is something far beyond that, which opens up your path, your journey towards self-mastery, which eventually leads to self-realization. It's hard for the mind to grasp that at this moment because it has been molded by the matrix, by the Maya, by the illusion of this material world to believe that this is the end-all be-all in life. Survival, sex, and status is the end-all be-all in life. For my dog, for the animals, it is the end-all be-all in life. But for humans, that's like the lowest level. That's like the lowest states. You can't even comprehend that there is those higher states. But as you progress on this path of semen retention, of celibacy, like I've said before here on this channel, the longer you retain, the more becomes revealed. You'll start to understand what I'm saying. You'll start to pick up what the fuck I'm putting down. Because I'm not out here putting any cap in my rap. I'm not out here to just spew lies. I'm telling you firsthand from my own experiences how this practice is the gateway, almost like the gateway drug, if you want to call it that, to these higher states of consciousness. It is the catalyst that pushes man's consciousness to these higher realms. Because you are not renouncing your lower level desires. You're not giving up on them. You're trading them in for something bigger, something better. Instead of going to the gas station and spending your $5 on chips and soda because you want a good meal, you're saving up that energy, aka the money, the currency, and going to a 5-star Michelin restaurant and getting a full course meal. You're trading in lower level desires for higher level pursuits. It's not easier. It's not going to be as accessible, but anything worth having in life is not easily accessible. There's some value to it. There's something that you have to attain and put in to actually get more back in return, which is exactly what's going on with celibacy and semen retention. You might not comprehend it right now, but as you continue on this journey, when you come back to this video, you'll be able to realize what I'm saying is the dead ass truth. You'll realize it firsthand for yourself, not through knowledge, not through another video, not through another book, but through firsthand experience and knowledge that can only be accessed from within, aka gnosis. You'll feel it for yourself, how your levels of consciousness is going to raise. Those lower level pursuits, those lower level desires will not even be enticing to you anymore. Fast food, you're like, what the fuck is that shit? Pornography, you're gonna be looking at your old self like, dude, did you really just watch two other people clap each other around with your dick in your hand, pixels on the screen, stroking your thing? You're gonna look at yourself like, wow, you're an idiot. Not in a condescending way. I'm not trying to say in a condescending way. You're gonna be like, dude, what was I? Was I sleepwalking? Was I like just on drugs? You are under a drug. You're under the hypnotic spell of lust. If you remain in these states, what is the cure? What is the antidote? The practice of celibacy and semen retention. You're gonna look back at yourself chasing around women for pleasure. You're like, man, how futile was that? I would go from one girl to another girl to another girl. There's always someone hotter. There's always someone else I want to smash. And I'm in a non-stop cycle doing these hula hoop and gymnastics to run game on girls. And I'm still in the same position in life. I'm not even happier. I'm not more fulfilled. I'm just even more attached to the senses, and I'm more of a slave to the senses. You're gonna look back and realize that you were living in an animalistic state before. And as you tap into the spiritual states of consciousness, You'll find true fulfillment, true ecstasy, true joy in the little things in life. As you walk on the righteous path towards creating the inner vision that God has given you to produce, materialize, and manifest out here on the material world. Cracked the hell out of my neck, jeez. But as you see right there, when you actually are walking on that path and realizing that there's something far beyond it, you actually gain more freedom than ever before. And what do I mean by that? A lot of people depend on the external world to feel better, to feel anything. They need alcohol just to be able to talk to people, be social. They need cigarettes just to feel normal. They need caffeine just to wake up. They need sex just to feel loved. They need pornography just to feel relief. When you are operating on those higher states of consciousness, you realize that all is within. Every emotion, every energetic feeling that you want can be generated from within. You like break the chains of being bonded to the material world. You break the chains of being walked like a dog by the material world. Right now, you're the dog being walked. You got a leash on you. Oh, you want a little treat? You got to do this. Oh, you got to do that to get a little treat. Oh, you want some food? You got to go do this. You see here, my dog is off the leash. That's what happens to your brain, to your consciousness, when you break free from the attachments of lust, of gluttony, of ego, of desire. You become so free. So free to the point where you want to help other people become free. Because you realize, damn, man, I wish somebody told me this sooner. This is why I make this content on this channel, on the main channel. Why I'm dropping more game and more sauce on the private Patreon community. Working with the people in the inner circle. Working with people one-on-one on my personalized coaching program. Hopping on consultation calls. It's the freedom, the liberation you get through these different practices. Like celibacy, like semen retention, that unlocks and unfolds your true capabilities of the mind, body, and soul. That is so powerful that every man who's truly on this path of self-mastery must experience firsthand for themselves. Again, you don't want to be in this mental masturbation state of just listening to me talk about these things, week in and week out. You want to experience it firsthand for yourself, because guess what? That ignites the catalyst, the spark within yourself, within your soul, within your spirit, that eventually helps you illuminate, become a beacon of light for other people to awaken their soul, awaken their spirit, and illuminate their own soul, and their own spark. It's a chain reaction. When you're operating in those higher states of consciousness, you're not just thinking about me, 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 me. You're thinking about what has God gifted me that I can gift back to the world to help elevate the collective consciousness of humanity. It might be through your expertise in the medical field. It might be your expertise in art, music, content creation, entrepreneurship, whatever it is. You are now a sovereign entity, and you get fulfillment from actually seeing your inner vision that's given to you by God being manifested and materialized out in the external world. That's what brings you true fulfillment, because you know you are using your mind, body, and soul in harmony for a greater good. It's impossible to tap into those states of consciousness and get that information and get that overall knowledge and intuition to help guide you on that path if you are constantly depleting yourself of that same cosmic force, that creative energy, that libido, that life force, that vitality and vigor that's pumping through your blood right now. that acts as a key to unlock these higher states of consciousness. You cannot fathom or comprehend and grasp the higher level things if you're living those lower states of existence. Let me say that again. You cannot fathom or comprehend to even grasp those higher level commands from God if you are continually putting yourself in those lower states of existence through your activities, through your actions, through your behaviors, through the thoughts that are running through your mind. You can't. It's like oil and water, it won't mix. The voice of God, the inner guide, the inner guru, the inner voice that actually brings you towards glory can't be heard if you're always just putting yourself in these degenerate situations, these degenerate activities, and these degenerate lifestyles. They don't work together. It works inversely. The more pure your life is, the more of this purification process you go on, the higher the volume of that higher self becomes in your own mind, helping to guide you along this material world of what it is that's going to bring you true fulfillment, true joy, and true glory to this world. The more you live in that degenerate state of mind, the higher that volume of the lower carnal nature of yourself becomes heard within your mind, telling you, yeah, man, we should go do this. Yeah, man, we should go do that. Is any of them evil or bad? No. No. It's your choice. It's all neutral. It's all there. It's all up to you. There's no devil. There's no demon coming at you. All of them are up in the mind. Your angels and your demons are up in here. It's all within your psyche. Do you want to purify your psyche, or do you want to further put on junk? Because you can still live out a life being quote-unquote happy. I'm saying quote-unquote happy because that's not true happiness. That's external dopamine being dumped in your brain. You can most definitely do that. But for you guys out there that are watching this channel in specific, like I've said it so much, you guys are psychologically and spiritually more mature than the masses of society. I'm not saying you're better than anyone. I'm not saying you're a chosen one. I'm not saying any of that nonsense. I'm saying that you've been blessed in some way, shape, or form that you can actually grasp these concepts. Maybe you've experienced something, you've had a taste of something like this. Maybe it's through your past lives, who knows? You were just blessed with the ability to actually grasp these higher level concepts. But all in all, it means nothing if you don't actually apply it into your life. And the best way, in my opinion, that you can get this whole journey kick-started is through this practice of celibacy and semen retention. It acts, again, as the catalyst that gets everything going, gets everything off the ground, just like a plane. It stays on the ground, stays on the ground, stays on the ground. But when it hits that turbo, whatever the fuck it is, I'm not no autopilot fucking person, but I've been on planes before, I know what's going on. So when it's on the ground, it hits that turbo, hits the jet, and it finally lifts off. You can do all the self-improvement habits and stay on the ground still. Cold showers, meditation, this, that. Semen retention, celibacy, I'm telling you right now, is what gets you from the self-improvement ground that just keeps you on the ground level, surface level, and lifts you off into true self-mastery. And awakens your spirit, and awakens these higher states of consciousness. That's the turbo, that's the jet, that's the super fuel that you've been missing out on. And if you're wondering, okay, man, I definitely am picking up what the fuck you're putting down, yet I still can't seem to actually instill this practice into my daily life. I'm struggling with it, man. Well, go out after this video, go on the search bar, click in how to succeed on semen retention. There is a full guide on the main channel, Fulati Fitness, that breaks down everything you need to succeed on this journey. And funny enough, within there, you'll get access to the free ebook, the Art of Retention ebook, that goes even more in depth and more in detail to all the different practices, tips, techniques that you need in order to succeed on this journey. And funny enough, if you're dyslexic, you got ADHD, you're retarded, you can't read, your boys got you covered with a full audio series of the Art of Retention ebook, again on the main channel. Go on the main channel, Fulati Fitness, click on playlist, whole audio series right there for you. The Art of Retention audio series. So pop it in while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're going about your day and get up on some game so you ain't out here looking like a motherfucking lame. You got all the resources there for you, man. It's not an easy path, but it's well worth it. Because now you'll be able to understand who you truly are and what you were really brought here to do, instead of chasing the external pleasures in the world to mask that overall lack of emptiness in your body, or the empty feeling in your body or in your soul and your heart. The only reason you have addictions, the only reason why you have these escape mechanisms, these coping mechanisms, because you feel some sort of void within yourself that's never going to be filled with external things. It's only going to be realized and filled and actually overall put together through this internal journey. And semen retention and celibacy is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful aspects to put in place in order for you to actually go along this journey within, internal, inside of you. So you got all the tools, you got all the tips, you got all the techniques laid out for you within the full guide, the audio series, and the Art of Retention ebook itself. And if you need any more guidance, you need any more help, like I said before, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. We got a bunch of services to directly help you with that. Whether that's personalized coaching with me one-on-one, on my programs, where we actually help you ascend and use your libido towards your advantage, leverage it towards your advantage. Get your mind, body, and soul on the right track. Whether that's booking a one-time consultation call that we can really break these things down in detail for you, how it can address your situation, and I'll do my best to help you get back on the right track. Or whether it's you hopping into the private Patreon community, get all the access to the exclusive content, the in-depth occult lectures, full guides. Better yet, if you hop into the Philosopher's Circle, hop into our monthly masterminds, 2 calls each and every single month, private group chat, where we got a community of like-minded men who are also on this path, so you can be surrounded around an environment of like-minded men who are going to want to see you elevate on each and every aspect of reality. Hold you accountable to it. You got all the resources there for you, man. There is no excuse. Get out there and go produce. Because if you want to actually taste these higher states of consciousness that you hear me talking about all the time, you got to actually address it firsthand for yourself. No book, no video, no podcast can ever make you realize it. It's gnosis. It's a type of knowledge that can only be accessed from within. It ain't head smarts, it's heart smarts. Let me say that again. It ain't the knowledge that goes into your head, it's the knowledge that is experienced through the heart. So enough said, bro. Truly, enough said. This practice, there's a reason why all these ancient teachings, from Taoism, the Vedic philosophy, Gnosticism, mystic Christianity, different traditions from all over the world, Buddhism, Islam, Sufism, all these mystic teachings in specific, Kabbalah, talk about the importance of being chaste as a man. Not because they want to scare you off from getting with women, but they know they've been guided by God that man will never be truly satisfied with that pursuit. It just becomes like an infection that keeps growing, keeps growing, keeps growing. And I'm not saying, oh man, women are bad, this and that. No, it isn't women that's bad. It isn't sex that's bad. It isn't anything that's bad. It is you are here for a certain time, a temporary time being. If you're going to waste your time, your energy, and your focus by having it get robbed by the matrix, by the Maya, by the illusion, you're never going to be truly realized in life. That's the ultimate goal of this human experience. You were given this incarnation to actually go beyond the animal mind. If that wasn't the case, you would come in as an animal. You can survive, have sex, and have chase status for the rest of your life. And that's the biggest benefit and the biggest fulfillment you'll receive. You came here as a human. There's another level, there's another chapter, there's another stage that you can access. And you're gonna go settle for the lower ones, settle for the lower states of existence, the lower states of consciousness, and live in your lower chakras? Or are you going to actually put in the work and uplift it? Think about it like this. It's easier for water to flow downstream than it is to upstream. It's easier for your life force energy to flow downwards to your lower energy centers than to flow upwards to your higher faculties. It's easier. It's easier to be lazy as well and get fat. It's easier to just be a degenerate and have no life. Stop looking for the easy way out. Stop looking for excuses just to be overall in a state of just comfortability. Look beyond. Be ferocious in your overall development, in your overall unfoldment of the mind, body, and soul. Actually be curious and see what is beyond this mundane experience. You only got a certain amount of time right here in this existence to figure it out. And you've been blessed, like I just said before, to grasp these concepts. A lot of people, the masses of society, will watch a video like this and think I'm schizophrenic, and I might be, who knows? And you might be too, who knows? But at the end of the day, we know that we're talking about a higher level path, and we're not better than anyone, but we realize, maybe through different experiences, that there is something beyond this, and we want to get more of that in our life, because we realize that nothing here on the external, on the material, can even match up to that, can't even compare. Celibacy and semen retention allows you to stay in that state of mind, stay in that state of existence 24/7, 25/8. But again, it ain't easy. Once you get the stream flowing up, you keep it there, it'll be more than worth it, well worth it, well worth it. I'm telling you, man, it is that catalyst that takes you up to the next level on all aspects of life, mental, physical, and spiritual, which trickle down to everything else you do, your social, your relationships, your business, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that you want to do, it all stems from the mind, body, and soul. So you want to improve your life in general, improve the self. Your external world is only a reflection of what's going on within. Semen retention and celibacy is a purification process that starts from within and eventually caters out to the external world. It is that powerful, man. It is that powerful. But it's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains, and I'm out here. Peace.